Hey guys, welcome back to our roster and schedule reveals for our FCS Dynasty in NCAA Football 2006. We're looking at the Jacksonville Dolphins right now, and here's a quote from head coach Marvin Joseph. These are his thoughts on the Jacksonville roster. With returning talent from last season along with a slew of top-flight recruits, I expect a much better performance this season, hopefully without the need to bench anyone. I definitely expect the defense to be much improved as well. I won't make any predictions, but I am optimistic about getting back to the conference championship game. Of course, Marvin Joseph led his team to an SEC championship over the Tennessee State Tigers in year one, a disappointing loss to the Cal Poly Mustangs in their bowl game, in the Sugar Bowl, and he's looking to get right back into it and improve on their 9-5 record for year number one. Let's go ahead and take a look at his subscriber players for year two. And we're going to start off with quarterback, of course, Michael Hines, number 4. He comes in with an 80 overall. Now, last season, his freshman year, he started off really terribly. He had 1 touchdown to 11 picks. Now, he got benched in favor for a non-subscriber quarterback by head coach Marvin Joseph. And, of course, Golden came in. He threw 7 touchdowns in one of the games. And eventually he got hurt, and he just wasn't performing well enough. So Marvin Joseph forced Michael Hines back into the starting lineup. And since his benching, and he also got injured as well for a couple games, he ended up finishing the year with 21 touchdowns and 7 picks. So from 1 touchdown to 11 interceptions, finishing with 22 touchdowns, 18 interceptions overall. His second half of this season was just phenomenal, and he threw for over 2,100 yards. He led the team in rushing with 1,175 and 12 touchdowns, which also led the team. He's an absolute monster. If he stays healthy, if he stays on track, and stays in head coach Marvin Joseph's good graces, and stays on the field every game, I have a feeling this young man has a chance at a Heisman Trophy this season, just because of all the weapons that he has and all the new faces that are coming in for this team. Not a whole lot on offense. They just have a freshman quarterback, Nolan Connor, 78 overall, and he was a 4-star prospect coming out of high school. He's 6'1", 210 pounds. But the offense doesn't really change at all for Jacksonville. But they already had a lot of weapons. You got Jukes McGee, 80 overall. McGee had 1,007 yards rushing last year, 7 touchdowns. He wasn't electric, but he got the job done for his team. And he also had 23 catches, 289 yards, and 3 scores. So Jukes McGee looking to have a breakout year, looking to make a bigger impact this season. And Tyler Matthews at fullback, 92 overall for that young man, 6'1", 252 pounds. And Matthews, of course, had 10 touchdown runs last year, 295 yards rushing. And he did not break a 20-yard run all season long, but he had 21 broken tackles, which led the team. Now we move on to wide receiver. Of course, Mr. Highlight, the MVP of the Jacksonville Dolphins last season. He was an absolute beast in every facet of the game. He had 341 yards rushing last year on 29 carries. Good for an 11.7 yard average. 5 touchdowns on the ground, along of 59. He had 8 20-plus yard runs, 17 broken tackles. And he's a receiver, folks. He had 59 catches, 1,389 yards. Obviously led the team in that category. He had 11 touchdowns, which was number 1 on the team, along with 85. He averaged 99.2 yards per game. But he did have 10 drops. He needs to improve in that part of his game. He was also a beast on returns, 1,100 kick return yards, 1 touchdown along with 98. 19 punt returns for 489 yards, 4 touchdowns along with 73. Just an absolute fantastic player. Really fun to watch, really fun to play with. Now moving on, we have Jermaine Marshall, the number 2 receiver. He had 24 catches last year, 506 yards, 82 overall. Not quite Mr. Highlights level at that 89 overall, but he also gets the job done at the number 2 spot. He had 6 touchdowns last season, along with 55, 4 drops though. So hopefully the receiving core for Jacksonville improved with their catch ratings and can get a little bit better, help out their quarterback, who desperately needs it. And number 3 receiver, Deshaun Harris, 80 overall wide receiver. He is the slot man, 5'9", 181 pounds. He had 24 catches last year as well, 602 yards, so almost 100 more yards than Jermaine Marshall, and 7 touchdowns, which was 3rd on the team. Jermaine Marshall was 4th. Now let's see. Harris also had a 55-yard reception. That was his long. There are 3 players on Jacksonville that have 55-yard receptions as their longest reception. Now Harris had 9 drops as well, so definitely a big case of the dropsies for the Jacksonville offense. They need to improve on that. And to round out the offense, Christian Hart, 91 overall tight end. He is 6'5", 260 pounds. He was number 2 in receptions for the team, 32 catches on the year, number 2 in yards, 782. He had the 2nd most touchdowns on the year as well with 10. Of course, the longest reception in college football history, a 100-yard reception for a touchdown. That was insane. And he had 0 drops all season long. So he is a great talent at tight end. Now we move on to the special teams. We have Quasi Sands, 5'7", 160-pound junior JUCO transfer kicker, 84 overall. And he was a 5-star prospect coming out of junior college. And we also have Dalton Hayes, number 10, 6'4", 227 pounds, 80 overall, 5-star recruit freshman. And I'm looking forward to the special teams for this team. It is going to be phenomenal. And now we move on to defense. There are a lot of new faces on this defense, and I'm sure a lot of you guys are looking forward to seeing this. We have a 5-star recruit, Parker Palmer, 82 overall defensive end. He's 6'8", 335 pounds, freak of nature, just a mountain of a man. And he is going to be a force for this defense. And as you take a complete look at the defensive side of the football for Jacksonville, they are really well rounded right now. 3 linemen, 2 linebackers, and 3 defensive backs. So they are much improved on the defensive side of the ball. And they also have 2 4-star defensive ends to go along with their 5-star defensive end. Frank Frazier, 4-star recruit out of high school, number 46. He's 6'4", 265 pounds, a 78 overall. And then Zach Allen, another 4-star recruit, number 2. He's 6'6", 295 pounds, a 76 overall. Now these players are going to be bounced around from defensive tackle to defensive end. Marvin Joseph has some special things coming for this defense, and it's going to be awesome. Now we also have Zane Williams, returning outside linebacker. He was one of the leaders of this defense, of course. 69 tackles last year, 15 for a loss, 7 sacks, 5 picks. He had 11 pass deflections, 3 forced fumbles, 3 recovered, and he also had 2 defensive touchdowns. This guy was doing it all for this defense, and he had to really carry this defense because they had no one else on the front 7. So he was a big portion of the defense last year all by himself. And at middle linebacker, 4-star recruit Devin Rambo, number 41. He's 6 foot, 240 pounds, a 72 overall. And he's not the best when it comes to overall, but if we take a look at his the roster here, his speed is pretty phenomenal for his position, 82 speed. So he is already faster than Allen Davidson, Malik Bean, and Marcus Pedersen, who are all the defensive backs. So Devin Rambo, look out for that name. He's going to shine this season for the Jacksonville Dolphins. I'm looking forward to calling his name a lot. And of course, we have Allen Davidson, 87 overall, Malik Bean, 85 overall, Marcus Pedersen with a 90. These guys are studs. Pedersen with 99 tackles last year. That's insane. 13 tackles for loss, 5 sacks, 9 picks, 162 interception yards, 14 deflections, 3 forced fumbles, 2 recovered, and 3 defensive touchdowns. The guy was a beast. Malik Bean did really well himself, 57 tackles, 7 picks. Allen Davidson, 43 tackles, and 8 interceptions. My goodness. So 24 interceptions combined for the 3 defensive back subscriber players for the Jacksonville Dolphin defense. And then you add on the 5 from Zane Williams. There's 29. insane stats for these guys. But let's go ahead and take a look at who they're going to be facing in year 2 of our FCS Dynasty. Look at that, folks. Week number 2, game 1 for Jacksonville. They're going to be traveling to Savannah, Georgia to take on the number 2 ranked Savannah State Tigers. That is going to be a monumental matchup for this series. 2 of the top teams. Jacksonville ranked 23rd in the preseason polls. I'm really looking forward to that matchup. I know a lot of guys were talking about it during last season, seeing if we could get that matchup to happen. And with head coach Marvin Joseph and Seth Maddox all agreeing, we made it happen, guys. It's going to be a home and home. So next year, we're going to see Savannah State taking on Jacksonville in Jacksonville for year 3. So look out for that one as well. Now, week number 3, we have a rematch of the Sugar Bowl as Jacksonville will be hosting the 13th ranked Cal Poly Mustangs and looking to get some revenge, some sweet revenge. And after that, they take on Yale. That's an away game. They'll be traveling to take on the Bulldogs. And after that, we start SEC play for Jacksonville. They will be taking on Mississippi Valley State at home. They'll travel to Arkansas Pine Bluff. They'll come back home against Jackson State. And then they've got 2 away games in a row, one against Alcorn State and then against the 19th ranked Tennessee State Tigers. And that was the biggest matchup last season, as they lost to Tennessee State the first go-around and then defeated them in the SEC Championship game. After that, 2 home games in a row against Alabama A&M and against Prairie View A&M, and those are probably going to be some easy victories here for the Dolphins. And then they'll travel to take on Alabama State, and that is the final game for the SEC schedule for the Dolphins. And they'll try to get revenge on the Florida Atlantic Owls in Week 15 in Jacksonville. That is going to be a great game, and I think the Dolphins have a better shot at it this season than they did last year. Just some injuries and suspensions really caught up with the Dolphins when they actually got to the Florida Atlantic game. But that is it. I don't know how many Jacksonville games are going to be won this year. I'm going to say 8 or 9. Probably a similar season as last year. As Savannah State and Cal Poly start to the season, that's going to be rough, I think. And of course, they're subscriber versus subscriber games, so they could go either way. I don't know. It could just be crazy from the start. They could be 2-0, 1-1, 0-2. I don't know, but Cal Poly got the better of them in the bowl game. Savannah State, of course, has only lost once in this series to the Bryant Bulldogs, who went on to win the national championship game against Fresno State. But I just don't know. Jacksonville has a really good offense, though. The defense is much improved. They might go on and win 10 or 11 games. Who knows? I just think it's going to be really fun to watch these guys. And, of course, the first 2 games I won't be able to play with them. So I'll have to wait until week 4. That sucks for me, but it's going to be fun to watch them against other subscriber teams and see if we can't get some cool upsets, some great games to start this season. But that's going to be it for this video, guys. Let me know in the comments section below how many wins you think the Jacksonville Dolphins are going to have in year number 2. Who's going to be a standout player, and who are you going to root for in the rest of this dynasty? Well, that's it for me, guys. I will see you tomorrow with the North Dakota State Bison roster and schedule reveal. Until then, take it easy, guys.